You can write your legislator anytime. And when you write your legislator, tell your story. Tell them, you know, what's going on. What are the budget implications going, what kind of effect are they going to have on your center, on your job? Tell your story. Invite them in, possibly. You know, one thing legislators always like to do is if you have an open house or you have parents coming in, it's always enticing when legislators can come in and see potential voters. It's always a good way to, a good draw. It's a win for the legislators and it's a win for you guys.
Every legislator keeps track of communications that come into their office, and so we do it in different ways. In my office, we actually kept an Excel spreadsheet that kept the contact information, who the person was, their address, because the address helps us know, is this a voter or not? It's very important to start your communications to your representative, and don't forget your senator. You have 2 legislators. You should, what you do for one, you do for the other. Make it automatic. Identify yourself either as a constituent or as whatever your role is in early childhood care and education. Make that connection for them, and then tell your story. And it's important to kind of give that basic introduction up front, and then explain that you are part of a broader coalition as well. And you can either tailor this, if you have the time and the interest, to be more personal and write your own message. That's very interesting and very helpful. The other side of that, though, is volume means a lot. And so if we, in tracking, and again, when we kept the database, we would note whether it was an email, a letter, or a phone call, because we would try and respond in a similar way. But it didn't matter. We kept track that these many people called us, wrote us, faxed us, emailed about this issue. And just with a note again, you know, able to call, or been invited to open house, loved it, you know, another resource. If you can offer even contact information, sometimes legislators will call. This is before us right now. What does this mean to your center, your organization? So what I would suggest is you establish that relationship and make it easy for yourself so that it is easy to do. So get the contact information from your rep, your senator, and then committee members, any other people you're doing outreach to. Use, you know, the resources that are available to you. Use the talking points off the template. If there's a form letter, a lot of people will say, oh, form letters don't work. They do if you get a dozen of them. You're like, uh-oh, something's going on. What is it? I have to pay attention. And frankly, any individual can generate a dozen form letters, because you can have your spouse do a form letter, and you know, it is the volume that really matters. And the consistency, legislators are overwhelmed with communications. So it is helpful if you say, I'm writing to let you know, and please call me if I can be of help. But if you don't need an answer, you can kind of suggest that, you know, FYI, I would like you to know this, and I will be watching how you vote or how the discussion proceeds. If you need an answer, if you need a specific answer, be very clear that you're asking for a specific answer. Be a little bit patient, and if you don't get it, follow up with the aide and say, you know, I asked to know, and the aide might be able to answer it for you. And it's a real, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't sometimes for a legislator, because if you respond with a position prematurely, things change, and you might be swayed to have a different position. So don't ask people to make an on-the-spot, are you with us, are you against us? But give them the opportunity to learn more about it, and if they write back and say, thank you, I have your name, your contact information, I know you're interested in this, and I appreciated hearing from you. A lot of people are like, that's a non-answer, but it does mean it's registered in the office, and it means that you can go back and do check-ins and say, wondered if you'd learned any more, if I can offer you any more as things are proceeding. What do you think is going to happen in the budget? How can I help influence that? You know, just keep an open mind and ask them to keep an open mind. And I will guarantee most I would say without exception for most cases, the legislators will appreciate that friendly, respectful back and forth. If you know someone's going to be on your case consistently and you can't deliver for them, you stop paying attention, and that's the last thing you want.